Alrighty, guys, welcome to day two of our book club. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. I'm very excited. We had to change the time here today. We are live right now, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to get this thing kicked off. We'll send out the warning to everyone. Excited. Welcome. Literally, today has been absolutely crazy, chaotic, but a lot of good things. Just had a dinner with my family, so we had to push back the call. So let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. Welcome to this book club. You guys can go to mikesotero.com/book club. I'll put it in the chat. For all updates on the book club, we did one in October with Outwitting the Devil, and now we are running it back with Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Now, the format of this book club is real simple. In this book club, we are going to go through this book, okay? And we are also going to go and put the notes literally on here. And at the end of the book club, if you are on the email list, I will actually send this, the screenshots of all 4 days to you. Now, tomorrow we'll be live at 6 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursday, we'll wrap up the book club at 6 p.m. Eastern as well. So if you could just do me a favor and hit that like button, it lets people on YouTube know that we are live and this is the place to be. Now, with this book, we're going to do it a little bit differently than what we did in October. We are basically just going to take this book, open to a random page, and then read what the author, Mr. Dr. Wayne Dyer, says in this book. Now, he takes this book, a lot of the principles from the Tao Te Ching. You can go kind of read up on that yourself. But really want to share a few principles. And today we're just going to go through about 2 chapters with this book. Okay, so let's open up to a random page. And let's just go to the page. And it brings me to page 144. If you have the book, let me know in the chat as well. Or if you're watching the replay, would love to know if you're watching the replay. We switched the time here today. So I'm not really expecting maybe a big crowd shows up. We're going to do it regardless, okay? The right people always show up to the right calls. That's what I've learned. So hit that like button. It lets more people on YouTube know. If you have the book, we're on page 144 verse. And I've actually read this before. This is such a good piece of the book. I hope you're ready. So he says, one who would guide a leader of men in the uses of life will warn him against the uses of arms of conquest. Weapons often turn upon the welder. Where armies settle, nature offers nothing but briars and thorns. After a great battle has been fought, the land is cursed, the crops fail, and the earth lies stripped of its motherland. Here's the most important part here. 30th verse, page 144. We're reading Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. He says, after you have attained your purpose, you must not parade your success. Woo! You must not boast of your ability. You must not feel proud. And the Bible says this is all throughout the Bible as well. You must rather regret that you have been able to prevent the war. What is written here says after you have attained your purpose. So first, you have to attain your purpose. You have to find what your purpose is, right? And that takes time. That takes years. Some people go their whole lives never finding that out. And I'm actually going to write that here in the notes so you guys can copy. So it says first, it says after you have attained your purpose, you must not parade your success. What does that mean? It means do not be a show-off. Do not talk about how much money you have. Do not, flex, right? That's like the Gen Z definition. Do not flex on other people, right? Don't say, hey, this person drives this car because they're poor. We spoke about this yesterday. What type of person would you rather be? Would you rather be the person that has a $2,000 bag with $20 or a $20 bag with $2,000? Which one would you rather be? Let me know in the chat. Now, this chapter is called Living Without Force. And it's such a good bounce back from yesterday, because yesterday, where are the notes from yesterday? We got them right here. Let's pull them up on this screen. They're somewhere on this. Where are they? I gotta find them. They're on one of my screens. I don't see it on this left one. But yesterday we talked about letting things flow. And in this chapter, it talks about living without force. So here's what he says. My impression of what's being offered to you in this verse: force creates a counterforce. And this exchange goes on and on until all out war is in progress. Once war has begun, now war doesn't have to be like militaries fighting each other. War could be the battle that you think that you're in right now. Let's continue. Once war has begun, decimation and famine result because the land cannot produce crops. Now, when you create war in your personal life, it produces a dearth of love, kindness, and joy, which leaves you and everyone around you stripped of divine motherhood. Look for an alternative force for settling disputes. If you can find no other option, then you're encouraged to abandon any reference as to yourself as winning or conquering. Force includes any use of physical or mental abuse in which weapons of hatred and intolerance are applied. There will always be a counterforce. So think of it in our everyday lives. What's up, MJ? I made it. Apologize. It's okay. No worries. Glad you're here. What's up, Cindy, Raymond? Good to see you guys. Think about it. If you're forcing something, what Dr. Wayne Dyer here is saying in his book is that there's something on the other side called a counterforce. And if it's being forced, it's probably not good. He says, whenever force is used, resentment and ultimately revenge become the means for responding. Oof. So good. If you guys are just jumping on here, we are in day 2 of our book club here. We're reading Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Dr. Wayne Dyer. You don't have to have the book. Just kind of stick around if you want. And the notes, you guys should be able to see the notes on the screen. Hold on, you guys can't see the notes. Why does it do that? This new Zoom stuff is so whack. I have to push this up. And that should work. Okay. Now he says, the all-creating source, so the all-creating God, is always providing, asking nothing in return, and coming from a place of sharing its inherent love. It knows that all are part of the 10,000 things, and they must cooperate with each other because they share the same origin. So everything comes from God. So whenever you're in a mode that propels you in the direction of using force, you've lost sight of your connection. Any collection of people who resorts to weapons to get their point across are attuned to the way. They'll leave the earth and the hearts of the people uninhabitable, except to briars and thorns. Your choice concerning your commitment to practice the Tao includes refusing to participate in any manner. If you somehow feel, this is really good, if you somehow feel that you had no other choice than to use violence to protect yourself, this is the exception. To protect yourself and those you love, immediately retreat to a position that doesn't allow for bragging and self-congratulation. So, you look at like one of our amendments, right? Was the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, like the right to have a weapon to protect yourself, protect your family in the US. Now, in some countries, like in Canada and Europe, you can't even have a gun. Okay, now I'm not going to get into if I agree with that or not, but I don't. Because what if somebody tries to come into your house? What if somebody tries to take one of your kids? I do think there is a fine line of, it's common sense, but there's a fine line of knowing when to use force in that example and when not to. Somebody screams at you, you don't use force. Somebody cuts you off on the road, you don't pull out a weapon. Absolutely not. But if somebody's trying to kidnap your daughter, common sense, right? Now that's in that example. But in the spiritual world, how many of us are trying to force our goals? We're trying to force manifestation of our business growing. We're trying to force, entries in the in the market. We're trying to force things, but on the other side, there's a counterforce that's going to lead to resistance. Okay, now this is really good. Now he says, eliminate verbal and physical force in all situations. Refuse to participate in violent actions in any way. I do think you have to be the bigger person in most situations to avoid it. I've seen, fights break out when I was in high school, or when I was in college for a very short amount of time. And you sometimes see stuff like on the internet, like people getting into fights in school. And it's like over like the stupidest things, right? You look at people that drink alcohol and then they get behind a car, you know, why did they do that? Well, you could say they're intoxicated, they don't know, but it seems like people that do that, obviously one bad decision can change your whole life, but a lot of people that do that, they're just trying to force things. Okay. People are given all the blessings in the world. You see these professional athletes, it happens to them all the time. They get all the blessings in the world, all the money in the world that you could ever dream of. And then they make a bad decision like drinking and driving and they kill somebody. They get caught doing, crazy amount of drugs, like illegal drugs, not steroids, like worse. And then they throw their whole career away. They get caught with domestic violence, right? There was a pitcher on the Dodgers, Julio Urias, right? Comes up from Mexico, really good baseball player, really good. He's a lefty. He was in the World Series his rookie year. He had gotten paid. He got paid a decent amount of money, but then he was on his contract year, which means the year that he could get a fat amount of money. And in public, doesn't matter public or private, this is not acceptable. But he gets caught, right, hitting his wife, which is obviously unacceptable, living from a place of force, being a violent person, and he is no longer a professional baseball player, and he's in court, he's dealing with that, and and if you want to talk about money for just a second, he probably lost and missed out on over $100 million. And you know what? He deserves it because he's an idiot for doing that. That's an example of why would you do that? You're going to get into an argument. You're going to not have agreements. You're not going to agree with certain people in your life, your business, maybe your spouse, but there's a time and a place. There's never a time and a place to use that type of force. Put a 1 in the chat if you're with me here so far. Okay. Put a 1 in the chat if you're with me here so far. So far today, day 2, glad you're here. We talked about really 2 key things. Number 1, don't be a show off. And number 2, you don't need to use force to get what you want. You should be able to attract it. You should be able to communicate it. You should be able to make your point come across in a different way. And then it says here, you might quiet the world for a second if you pray. And if you really love, our guns will wilt. We're going to read one more verse in this book, or one more chapter in this book. But those are the 2 things that I got from there. There's a time I'm going to put it here, the second point. Know when and when not to use force. Obviously, physical force is you have to know when you're crossing the line. Like, isn't it people that have like black belts? Aren't they like if they get into a fight in public, like something, isn't it like they have like a separate law for those people? Because they are actually like themselves a deadly weapon. Like, but I've met a few people that have black belts, and guess what? They're the nicest people in the world. They just will only use force if they have to. Like, you don't just train just to train to get a black belt. Maybe you do, but in case you're put in that situation, Now you have this skill set. It's like driving a car. It's like if you have a weapon, if you have a computer, right? I got to learn how to use my computer to then really maximize my computer. Maybe you're like a video editor, right? You download Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or whatever you use, but then like you download it, but then you got to learn how to use it. You have to master it. If you're always looking to force things, you'll never get to a high level of mastery, is what Dr. Wayne Dyer here is saying. MJ Talks says, just like how my dad used to tell me to pick my battles wisely. Incredible. Yeah, that's an incredible advice. That's a great point. Great point here. Like, here's an example. Is it worth losing relationships with your family over politics? What do you guys think? I've seen so many videos, and like it's just like on Twitter and just random videos of literally people telling their family members, hey, you can't come to Thanksgiving and you can't come to Christmas because you voted for Kamala or you voted for Trump. A lot of it is because they voted for Trump, to be honest. Is that the right thing to do? No matter what you believe in, is it the right thing to do to abandon your blood or abandon friends? Hit the like button if you agree with this. Is it the right thing to do to abandon people in your life that one day won't be there? Especially if they're older than you. Like you don't know how much time you don't know how much time you have left. I don't know how much time I have left. All I can control is now. All I can control is me right now, November 12th, 8:21 p.m. on this book club with you. I can't control anything else. My phone's on Do Not Disturb. I'm being present here. Hopefully you're present here. Okay, MikeSotero.com. Go to the site, register for the book club for all the notifications if you want to be a part of our book club. This is the last book club we're doing on YouTube. It's just, I don't really like the whole YouTube setup here. We'll probably just do a Zoom moving forward, okay? So let's go through one more chapter, and then we're going to wrap up, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m., okay? So if you guys are just joining, what we do with this book is we just go to a random page, okay? And the page that we are going to land on is page 34. This chapter is called Living Beyond Ego. Man, this is so good right here. Okay, it says, heaven is eternal. The earth endures. Why do heaven and earth last forever? They do not live for themselves. Oh my God, this is going to be really good. This is the secret of their durability. For this reason, the sage puts himself last, so ends up ahead. He stays a witness to life, so he endures. Have you ever seen somebody just like top out, peak? You know, they just like, they hit this peak in their life and then it just, everything goes against them. What this is saying right here is the secret of the durability is to not live for yourself, to live for something greater, to live for something bigger than yourself, whether it's your a charity that you believe in or your charity. Maybe it's, you know, and it can't be like I'm living for somebody else, like a person. It can't be a person. I can't live my life for my parents or my kids one day or for somebody else. That's not what this is saying. What this is saying is that you have to find something greater than yourself. Okay, a mission bigger than yourself. This is why you see this happen all the time. You see people get married, they have kids, they're miserable together, but then they stay together. Why? Because we have to stay together for our kids. And then it just leads to unhappiness. It leads to force. It leads to like just conflict, and it makes the situation worse, right? You have to find something. And then if you're in a relationship, that's a completely separate conversation. Not the advice I'm going to give here today, but then you and together, you have to find something greater than yourself that you're going after. Okay, let's go through the chapter. Okay. It says there is a quality that supports this durability. However, and that quality responds when we live from the center rather than our worldly ego center. So God center over the worldly ego center, identifying exclusively, page 35, with the physicality of life and basing our existence on acquiring and achieving things. disregards our infinite nature and limits our awareness of Taoist. In such a finite system, it therefore seems logical to strive for possession. So let's just put that there. Logical, go after things, go after possessions. How much can I accumulate? How much can I get? Right? Sound familiar? How much money can I get? How many houses can I own? I heard this one quote that said, "What man, this gives me goosebumps. How miserable would, and this happens all the time, how miserable would your life be if you made millions of dollars, you get your dream house, but your house never becomes a home because nobody else lives in it with you because people hate you?" Wow. Isn't that kind of scary? And that's why you have to be sure about picking the right partner. If you have a partner, having a family, how are you going to build your family? A family is a business in a way. I'm not trying to say it's a profitable business because it's not. But when you have a family, you have to look at it like kind of like in a business. How are we going to structure this? Oh, there's no structure. Shit's going to fall apart. It's not going to be a good family. We don't have a vision as a family. We're probably, my parents have done a great job. Like we always have something to look forward to as kids growing up. And even to this day, obviously I'm not a kid anymore, but even to this day, like we book, my parents book vacations and, different things that we have on the calendar just so there's something to look forward to. I believe you're going to grow really old really fast if you don't have something to look forward to. I'll always remain a kid. Now I'm a man, but like inside, if this makes sense, I'm still a kid. I don't think like, people like my age, because those people are going to grow old faster. When I was 18 years old, doing events and doing meetings and walking into rooms with people that were double, triple my age, doing business deals with people that were, they could have been, my grandpa, technically. I had to speak in a certain way. I had to not focus so much on the things. Hey, this is what you can get. When you're older, you don't worry about the things that you can get, the things, the items, the possessions. You worry about time. What can I do to get more time? My mission can be time based. Hey, I'm 55, but by 60, I want to be able to have financial freedom. That's a good message. A bad message, okay? A bad message, if you're younger and somebody's older and you're trying to do business with them, just as just an example, is you trying to push the wrong narrative. So you have to know that. Okay. Here's what he says. Let me go to this next page here. We're on Living Beyond Ego, this chapter. Okay. He says, when you're tempted to focus on your personal successes and defeats, shift your attention in that very moment to a less fortunate individual. Does everybody agree? Does everybody agree that you should be grateful for where you're at because there's somebody else that would die to switch places with you? I believe that. That's why I wear this wristband right here. This is a Lokai bracelet. I actually had another one, and you can see here it broke, but it's okay. But in this one right here, there is mud from the Dead Sea, the lowest point on Earth. And in this white one right here, there is water from Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth and the lowest point on Earth. Gratitude is such a powerful thing, and gratitude, it is proven, will raise your frequency. It's tough to be angry when you're grateful. It's tough to be bitter when you're grateful. I know it's hard sometimes to be grateful because maybe something is going through you, but watch this. He says, I'm going to read it again. When you're tempted to focus on your personal successes and defeats, maybe you're in a defeat season right now. Maybe you're in a success season right now. I don't know. But if you're, whatever season you're in, shift your attention in that very moment to a less fortunate individual. You'll feel more connected to life, as well, more satisfied. than what you're dwelling on your own circumstances. Imagine what it would be like if you dismissed ego's hold on you, serve others, and watch how all that you give returns tenfold. We're gonna probably end it with this. This is such a great chapter, page 37. He says, stop the chase and be a witness. Stop the chase and be a witness. How many of y'all needed to hear that tonight? Let me know in the chat. Hit the like button if you needed to hear that tonight. Stop the chase. And guys, you look at crypto right now, market's moving, people are making money. And guess what? People are just going to keep chasing. They're going to make some money on this bull market, and then they're going to keep chasing more numbers. They're going to make some money on their business, and then they're going to keep chasing more business. Stop the chase and be a witness. I think all of us sometimes we need that reminder. It says the more you pursue desires, the more they'll elude you. Try letting life come to you and begin to notice the clues that what you crave is on its way. You're in a constant state of receiving because the ceaseless generosity of God, essentially. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, the sunshine that warms you, the nutrients that keep your body alive, and even the thoughts that fill your mind are all gifts from God. Stay appreciative of all that you receive, knowing that it flows from an all-providing source, God. Stop the chase and become a witness. Soothe your demanding habits by refusing to continue running after more. I know I needed to hear that tonight. Okay. By letting go, you let God. And even more significantly, you become more like God and less like the ego. And isn't that the goal? With its lifetime practice of edging God out. Okay. So in closing this, we're going to close today a little bit early here. We'll be live again tomorrow on my channel here, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Stop the chase. Whatever you're chasing after right now, whether it's money, whether it's a person, whether it's a status, whether it's income, whether it's an outcome, whatever it is, just be a witness. Just slow down and be a witness. And I think the best thing you can do is tonight is write down a few things that you're grateful for. Hopefully yesterday in day one, you threw away those 5 things. Let me know in the chat if you participated and you threw away and you got rid of some of those things. I got rid of today a couple different shirts, a couple different pants that I just no longer needed. So I got rid of those wristbands. Yesterday, the first challenge was throw away some of those things. Get rid of some of those things. I'm going to take a screenshot of this whiteboard here, and we're going to email this out to you guys. And the challenge here today is write down 5 things that you are grateful for. And then I'm going to put this here as well. Stop the chase and be a witness. Yeah. All of us are witnesses in our own form, right? Some of us, we're going to witness the biggest transfer of wealth ever take place in crypto. Some of us are going to be witnesses to great experiences. Some of us are going to be witnesses this year to new levels of happiness. Some of us are going to be witnesses this year to maybe some struggles. But you trying to force the hand, you trying to manipulate the situation is chasing. And if you're chasing anything, remember this. There's something on the other side running away. Day 2 is done. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Day 3, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Tomorrow, day 3, 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I appreciate you. If you guys can like and comment down below after the video ends or even now. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I just dropped the brand new